Welcome to the Hardline Curling Show. We've got another excellent episode for you this week. Coming up, Canada crowns its 2024 club champion. A powerhouse pair punches its ticket to the mixed doubles curling trials, and we catch up with a Canadian curling legend. All of that, plus a look ahead to the Everest Senior Curling Championships. The ice is fresh, so let's get started. Curling clubs in Richmond Hill, Ontario and Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia are making room for some new hardware in their trophy cases as the proud homes of Canada's latest club champions. The 2024 Everest Canadian Club Championships wrapped up in Barrie, Ontario last week with a former winner reclaiming the men's title and a former women's finalist getting to the top of the mountain for the first time. Let's start on the women's side, where for a third straight year, a team from the Maritimes took home the crown. However, for the first 5 ends of the championship game, it appeared that that team would be the one representing Prince Edward Island. Amanda Power's rink held an 8-3 lead after 5 ends over the Nova Scotia foursome, skipped by Michelle Armstrong, which fell just short of winning the title in 2018 and had to settle for silver. But Armstrong, along with vice skip Julie McAvoy, second Abby Miller, lead Kathleen Conrad, and alternate Mary Mason would not be denied a second time. The Nova Scotians scored 4 in the 6th end and then stole 2 in the 7th to take a 1-point lead before holding PEI to a single in the 8th to take the hammer into the extra end. And after battling all the way back, Armstrong didn't even need to throw her final stone as Power missed a double takeout with her last, lifting the team from the Lakeshore Curling Club to a 9-8 victory. It is the first time in 15 years of the event that a team from Nova Scotia has claimed the Women's Club Championship. The men's story wasn't quite as dramatic. In fact, another D word comes to mind: dominant. It was an incredible week for Jordan Keon's team from Richmond Hill, Ontario. The 2022 Canadian Club champions brought a reworked lineup to Barrie, with Keon moving from third to skip, replacing Greg Balsden, and Ryan Wernick coming on board as the team's new third. And they looked every bit as strong as they did 2 years ago. Keon, Wernick, and second Curtis Samoy and lead Trevor Talbot did not lose a game all week long, going a perfect 10-0, capped off with a 7-3 victory over Manitoba in the gold medal game. The Richmond Hill rink is just the second men's team to claim multiple Canadian Club championships, and it's the 5th time that a team from Ontario has been named the men's champs. That'll do it for that event, but when we come back, we'll talk to curling legend Randy Ferbey.
I love that curling is a team sport, that we're able to travel the world with friends and family and experience the journey with fans as well. The sport demands so much, whether it's fine motor skills or both physically and mentally taxing. And it's just a fun social sport that you're able to kind of make an extended family all over the world.
Everest is here to support you in the moments that matter. Learn how at everestfuneral.ca.
Mo.
The moustache is calling. Raise funds, save lives. Donate at Movember.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Our next guest is a household name to many curling fans. Randy Ferbey won 2 Brier titles and a World Men's Championship with Pat Ryan in the late 1980s before eventually forming his own squad and enjoying a dominant run in the early 2000s, winning 4 more Briers and another 3 world titles over a 5-year span. He was one of the first skips to call the shots while throwing third stones, and in 2023, he and his teammates Dave Nedowin, Scott Pfeiffer, and Marcel Rock were inducted into Canada's Sports Hall of Fame. Randy, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining.
Well, thank you for inviting me here.
So looking back to that team, you guys were together for a long time, and that's not something that's overly common nowadays. Can you sort of describe what it was like to stay together for that long and how that's maybe changed in sort of the curling landscape nowadays?
I think we were about 12 years together, and we had moderate success or relatively success early on, like in 1998, 99. I mean, we lost the provincial final to go to the Brier in Edmonton in 2000. So that was the early stages of our curling. And we knew we kind of had something very special back then. I mean, everybody knew their role on the team. Nobody wanted to move up or play third. There wasn't much third or second or skip. There wasn't much discussion about someone uh, stealing them or going to another team. We were quite complacent with each other, and we were great friends. And so, I mean, staying together is not that hard if you're successful. And I think that's part of the reason we were together for a long period of time.
Your team obviously dominated, as we mentioned, for several years. But aside from just being good curlers, what do you think was key to all that success?
Everybody knew their role. Everybody trusted everybody. Everybody was willing to learn. There was no egos on the team. Everybody had a 25% stake in the team. It wasn't the skip got more or did more. Everybody was a valued member of the team, and they knew it.
When you touching back on that first question, when you look at sort of the landscape now, we see a lot of big names and big teams who have had success shift players and in and out of the lineup, and obviously some of the lesser known teams are making a lot of moves as they try to make their way up. Do you think that sort of landscape has changed just because it's more competitive, or how would you describe?
You know what? That's a very good question. I mean, nobody really knows the whole story of why these top teams are replacing players on their team and coming up with somebody else. I mean, we've seen it all. A lot of times I'm looking at these, it doesn't make sense to me. But ultimately, if you feel you're not going to win with a player, you have to make a change. And I think the Olympics plus the European contingent, they're playing so well now, and the Canadian teams are looking for every little advantage they can get. And whether they're going to get it or not, well, time will tell, right? But it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense to me. I mean, curling at the end of the day is still not a professional sport where we're really making a living off it. It's not like a hockey team or baseball, where you get millions of dollars coming in from TV revenue and salaries and whatnot. So I'm a little disappointed, to be honest with you, in the changes that some of these players made. But at the same time, I don't know why they made the changes. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. They're just looking for something, right? A little extra edge. They're turning over a new rock to try to find something else. So that is a very good point. But as for yourself, since your retirement, how have you stayed involved in the game over the years?
Well, I got a really fortunate position with Everest Funeral Concierge early on, about 10, 11 years ago. It's a company that was based out of the United States, and they came to Canada, setting up a wholesaling chain here. And they contacted World Financial Group to sell their product. And I was employed, and I did some work with World Financial Group. And World Financial Group also sponsored our curling team in the early 2000s. So they came here looking for how they can improve their business and whatnot. And so I happened to meet Mark Duffy, the CEO, and another person with WFG, World Financial Group. And this is, how can I make my business a little stronger? And WFG guys said, hire Randy Ferbey and start doing curling. And we've been doing that for about 11, 12 years now, and very happy with what we're doing. I mean, we're always looking to be innovative and everything. And so Mark Duffy really trusts me to lead that ship, I guess you could say, with the curling properties. And we got some great things planned in the future here. So hopefully it's not one and done. Like, we've been sponsoring for a little over 10 years now, the seniors, and we took on the club championship, and we did that ENAC event this past summer in Denver. We've had some specialty events. We sponsored a lot of the skins games throughout the years. And so we are highly active in the participation of curling events.
Mm-hmm. And we just talked about the club championships in Barrie last week. What did you enjoy most about that event, and touch on some of the highlights?
The biggest thing, obviously when you get there, I mean, they're not the name curlers, but they are curlers that are passionate about the game. They cannot play as much as they want to. And you know what? They're pretty good curlers. And the one thing that I really noticed the most about these curlers is they're very, very appreciative of the sponsorship that Everest does. And the Canada Curling has this event for them. And, they can go back and talk to to their family and friends, and they're playing for a Canadian championship, which is outstanding, and they just love that idea. Most teams take it serious, but at the end of the night, they like to have a little bit of fun too, and it kind of reminds me of what the Brier and the Scotties was like 20, 30 years ago, and so I really love seeing their passion in their faces and the fun that they have throughout the week.
Is there enough appreciation when you look at that event of the caliber of competition that are at these club championships? We've seen some big names come through there, but it really is sort of that weekend warrior kind of type of team, right?
Yeah, there's not enough notice or notoriety through this stuff, and I kind of put the blame, I guess, maybe a little bit on Canada Curling, and I mean, everything nowadays is about the Olympics, and it goes on and on and on. And there are other good curlers or good events, that are obviously not Olympic or world caliber, but again, there's people that want to watch curling, and they don't necessarily want to watch the Jacobs and the Gushus and the Holmans all the time. They like to see what else is out there, and I think we're providing that for them. So, I mean, will it ever change where it gets mainstream and stuff like that, or they're talking about it more and more? Probably not, but we'll keep trying to figure out a way to make that happen.
And obviously, you mentioned it before, but Everest has been a big sponsor, and they're also sponsoring the upcoming Senior Championships. Who should we be keeping our eye out on in Moncton this week?
That's another event that's really close to my heart. Obviously, I'm kind of senior age or a little bit beyond that now, and it's still, when people show up there, there's more curlers that I know there than the club championship. But at the same time, there's some of the younger seniors, 50 years old. I don't know who they are, but it just shows you my age, I guess you could say. But obviously, in the men's field, Paul Fleming's coming back. He won the event last year, was a world champion last year also. So he's going to be there again. I mean, there's always a bunch of returning teams that do quite well. And they look forward to it. Like Alberta sending James Paul again. This is his second or third trip in a row, so I suspect he'll be close. But at the end of the day, I kind of got to give the odds are that Paul Fleming will be close again in that. And in the women's, it's I think it's a little bit more open there. I mean, there's a team from Ontario. I can't remember who's skipping the team. They're back again. They were there a couple of years ago, so they're going to be close. But there's always that one team that kind of gets off to a great start and kind of carries them through the week. And so I'm looking forward to seeing who that team is going to be this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a good week. And I just want to touch on Everest one more time. Obviously, it's important for them to be part of the event. What does the company bring to the event, and why do you think it is important for them to be involved?
Well, I think when we first started this sponsorship thing, I guess you could say, in curling, Mark Duffy, he trusts his employees, he hires people and lets them run with it. He doesn't question a lot of things. He just lets it go. And so one of the things that I wanted to do is bring back. I mean, I don't want to say, I got to back this up a little bit, because I mean, again, all these bonspiels, the slam events, the big events for the biggest curlers and whatnot, they go there, they curl, they make a fair bit of money, they go home. Do they appreciate their sponsors? Yeah, probably, but probably not to the extent that these curlers do. So one of the things that I was passionate and I wanted to make happen at these events is to bring back something that was very close to the Brier and the Scotties 20, 30 years ago. I mean, everybody remembers, we used to have our own drivers at the Brier. We used to have a players' lounge at the Brier, and everybody was a lot more sociable, I guess you could say. And I think we've done that, where we make this event, again, we don't pressure anybody to go out and socialize every night, but we provide the opportunity for them to do that. And they're very appreciative of it. And, we do some great branding, and I would wager a bet that the branding that we have done at the seniors and the club championships and the ENAC event that we did, the branding there is probably better than the Scotties and the Brier. There's more. You walk into the hotel, there's banners, there's carpets, there's signage all over the place saying that the event is on. And we hire a marketing team to do that. We spend a lot of resources on it. So we make it a very, very special event for the curlers at these events.
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, you have your hands full with a number of things, but is there any chance we could see the old squad getting back together to add a senior title to the collection?
You know what? I think all the guys are getting closer to it, but I'm getting further away from it. I don't think Marcel has curled in 4 or 5 years at least. Scott probably dabbles every now and then as being the national coach for the mixed doubles. And Dave still plays quite a bit with his daughters, and he plays on a Thursday men's league. But I actually haven't thrown a rock in over 6 years. I mean, would I like to get back into it? Yeah, every now and then I think I should give it a go. But I'm on a short list to be going in for a knee replacement here in the next month or two at the latest, and maybe sooner than that. So we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, you never know. Hey, well, best of luck with that, and I appreciate you taking some time to come on the show.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me again. You guys have a great night.
Let's head to break, and when we come back, we'll recap the latest Canadian mixed doubles curling trials and look ahead to the Everest Canadian Senior Curling Championships.
Curling means so much to our family. Obviously, it's a big part of our life.
Weight's good.
Isabella always says that she wants to be an Olympic champion curler when she grows up, which just melts my heart. But it also has shown them that if you work hard, anything is possible. If I was to ask them if they wanted to chase a dream, they believe that anything is possible as long as they put the work in, and it's because of watching us on the ice.
Everest is here to support you in the moments that matter. Learn how at everestfuneral.ca.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Don't forget your brooms.
Yep, you got it.
Come on up. Okay, well, what do you got? You got one, you got two, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Another team has booked its spot in the Canadian mixed doubles curling trials, which are set to begin in just over a month from now in Liverpool, Nova Scotia. The latest qualifier took place in Guelph, Ontario last week, and it was a pair of heavy hitters punching their ticket as Brendan Botcher and Rachel Homan powered their way through the field, posting a perfect 6-0 record in the final, winning in dominant fashion 8-1 over the team of Shane Connings and Lauren Wasilkiu. How dominant, you ask? Well, Botcher and Homan raced out to an 8-0 lead after 3 ends, and the team shook hands after 5. In addition to earning $6,000 with the victory, the duo becomes the 7th team to claim a trials berth, joining the 3 medalists from the 2024 Canadian Mixed Doubles Championship, the 2 next highest-ranked teams at the end of last season, and the pair of Ryan Kleider and Brittany Tran, who won this season's first qualifier event in Maple Ridge, BC earlier this month. There's one more qualifier tournament coming up in Banff, Alberta next week, which will give us team number 8. The remaining 8 twosomes to round out the 16-team trials field will be made up of the highest-ranked teams as of December 9th that have not already qualified. The Canadian Mixed Doubles Trials run from December 30th to January 5th. The winner will wear the maple leaf at the 2026 Olympic Games in Italy, provided that Canada qualifies, of course. As we touched on with Randy Ferbey earlier in the show, the Everest Canadian Senior Curling Championships are just around the corner, with the action set to kick off on December 1st in Moncton, New Brunswick. The top curlers aged 50 and over will be battling it out for the men's and women's titles and the right to represent Canada at the 2025 World Senior Championships, which will also be taking place in New Brunswick, with the city of Fredericton playing host in late April. Last year's women's champions from Ontario, skipped by Suzanne Froud, are not in the field this year, with that province being represented instead by a team led by Joanne Rizzo, who was an alternate on Froud's team last year and has competed at the last 5 Scotties Tournament of Hearts under the flag of the Northwest Territories. Ontario's victory a year ago, ending a run of 5 straight titles for Sherry Anderson of Saskatchewan, which is represented this time around by a different Saskatoon-Nutana Curling Club team, the one skipped by Tracy Streifel. The Rizzo and Streifel ranks are just 2 of several that could contend for the title in Moncton. Meanwhile, on the men's side, defending Canadian and world senior champion Paul Fleming is back to defend his crown. The Nova Scotia skip went 10-2 last year's event, edging Saskatchewan's Bruce Cordy 4-3 in a low-scoring final. Coincidentally, that was also the final score in the gold medal game at the 2024 Worlds in Sweden, where Fleming's team defeated the United States for the title. The veteran of 11 Brier champions will be one of the favorites to win again this year, but he'll face a tough field in Moncton that includes hometown favorite Mike Kennedy, who represented New Brunswick at 6 Briers and won the World Senior Men's Championship in 2014. The Everest Senior Curling Championships run from December 1st to 7th, and you can watch all the action for free on Curling Canada's YouTube channel. And with that, we've run out of rocks for another week. Thanks again to Randy Ferbey for joining us. If you would like to see your event featured on the show, just send us an email to steven@iksmedia.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up with all the latest news. Our next episode comes your way on December 6th. Until then, good curling.